It is old news the fact that Brazil has the power to attract tourists and steal their hearts with its natural beauty, food, culture, and warm reception. All this could be clearly felt between July 2018 and July 2019, when the country broke the tourism income record of $136.7 billion, the highest in the past 4 years, generating 25,000 jobs within the same period. Sometimes this impact is so great in the foreigners' hearts that they end up exhibiting their passion through a tattoo on their skins, or by buying a property here in Brazil, so that they can come over as many times as they want to. If you think the tattoo is simply not enough for you to deal with this infatuation, we will guide you through the process of getting a property here. It doesn't matter if your reason is to invest in the 12th strongest economy, which is expected to reach the 5th position by 2035, or for having a vacation home, or even becoming a retiree in this tropical country, whose cost of living is just 20% of that in the UK. Follow these steps to understand how to own a property here in BR. By the way, this video is dedicated to my friends Kevin, Neil, and Dave. I also want to thank Bluest Star for the t-shirts we've been wearing here in the show, in the videos. And if you want to get one of them, just access the Instagram account, which is right here. You're not going to regret it. Hello everyone, this is Mark Saint for Brazil Unsubtitled, your channel to get to know all you ever wanted to know about Brazil, but in English, in American English. When buying a property in Brazil, all transactions must be made through Brazil's central bank. All money sent to Brazil must come through the official banking system, in communication with the central bank. Also, it is important to note that when closing on a real estate property, the Brazilian bank that represents the seller can credit the money to him only if both parties have signed the contract. An overseas investor can also purchase real estate in Brazil without leaving his or her home country. With the power of attorney given to a lawyer or trusted party, the procedure can be held without difficulty. To obtain a power of attorney in a country outside Brazil, there is a procedure involving a local notary public and the Brazilian consulate in the jurisdiction of the investor's residence. The representation of an attorney ensures that the Brazilian property purchase process goes smoothly. A question that normally comes up before assessing the conditions for investment in Brazil is, can I really invest in the country? Can I really invest in Brazil? The answer to this question is a positive yes. The foreigner not only can invest in Brazil, but also is encouraged by the Brazilian government to do so. Facilities in obtaining visas and treaties to avoid double taxation are clear examples of the Brazilian government's interests. There are no restrictions on foreign property buyers who are purchasing urban land, beachfront properties, houses or condos. Foreigners have the same rights as Brazilians, and residency is not required. There are, however, restrictions on foreigners who wish to buy large tracts of rural land used exclusively for agricultural purposes. If you're considering a large land purchase, consult your attorney for guidance. But investors seeking to participate in the real estate, tourism, export, or environmental markets don't have to worry about the restrictions. Closing costs will total about 4% of the purchase price, plus the cost of any legal fees or title insurance. The 4% breaks down as follows. 1% for the creation of the escritura, a 2% transfer tax, and another 1% to register the property. Capital gains tax is usually 15%, paid at the time of the sale. Reinvestment of the gain into another property and deferral of the tax is permitted under Brazilian law. Condo fees are generally inexpensive by North American standards. For a typical condo project with a swimming pool and basic services, guys, for example, expect to pay less than $80 per month. Property taxes will vary with the municipalities involved, of course, but a lot of beachfront condos, for example, are around $250 per year. My heart is begging me to get the hell. IPTU is the property tax here. It is established locally in every city, but the amounts normally go from 0.5% to 1.5% of the valuation of assets, depending on the use of the property and its location. Very important to say. ITBI stands for Real Estate Transfer Tax here in Brazil, based on the value of the asset or the valuation of it. The amount is normally 2% of the base above mentioned, guys, having to be paid in order to officially register the change of property before a notary public. To officially transfer the asset, there are some other costs involved, such as the signature of a public contract and the register of the contract at a notary public, or in Portuguese, cartório de registro de imóveis. Cost depends on the value of the asset. IR represents the income tax. The value depends on the amount of capital gain, since the rate goes from 15% to 25%. Note that there is a new bill establishing that in every 5 years, a tax benefit can be used for capital gain purposes. This is generally for the seller of an asset with capital gain, and the reinvestment of the value obtained toward other real estate assets until 180 days after the sale. Before we move forward and I detail the steps for the purchase, consider subscribing to the channel if this is your first time around here. We bring you new content about Brazil every week, and of course it would be a pleasure for me to have you as a member of this Brazilian family. We also have our Instagram account where we post new content and background images regularly, as well as our Facebook page and our Telegram group. If you are already a subscriber to the channel, thank you very much for supporting us, okay? All right, let's get back then. The process for buying property is simple, but somewhat different from elsewhere in South America. Here, more than anywhere, it is worth having good, competent legal counsel. Engage your lawyer in the process before you sign anything. Make an offer and come to terms. This is done rather informally when compared to the United States. The initial offer in Brazil is usually conveyed by phone or in person. At this stage, you and the seller will agree in principle to a price and any general terms. You must obtain a tax ID, or in Portuguese, CPF, number to purchase a property in Brazil. This is not needed to execute a sales contract, but it will be needed for the title transfer. The process can be done online, and then you need to search for a Brazilian diplomatic representation near you to pay a small tax and get the document. In this sense, private means one that is not registered with a notary. In this contract, you will specify the purchase price and any terms or conditions for the sale. When you pay for the property, the seller cannot withdraw the money from the bank without presenting this contract. Your attorney or real estate agent can draw this up for you. It is good practice to have your attorney reveal it, and if you don't speak Portuguese, you should have it translated into English, or at least have an English-speaking attorney or realtor to walk you through it. Now that you've got everything in writing, the seller will want to see the final product before he signs it officially. This can be done in the presence of a document notary. The promessa is not normally publicly recorded. The payment is usually transferred directly to the seller's account within the period of a time specified in the promessa. In order to retrieve the funds, the seller must present the signed promessa to prove where the money came from and its purpose. Down payment is normally 10% but can be negotiated. We've seen them as low as 0.75% with developers and higher in private sales. The preparation of the escritura will be done by the notary, which will be the public record of the sale. This step is mandatory for any property valued at more than 10,000 Brazilian reais. Again, this is transferred directly to the owner. Take the escritura and proof of payment to a property notary who performs the recording of real estate transactions. This notary enters your property into the official registry. Well, I hope this video has been useful for you and you can click on the thumbs up to promote it. If you've got any questions, let everybody know by leaving a comment. Your question might help others as well. Thank you very much for staying with us up until now and see you next time.